What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Centers, America's number one dispatcher and freight broker training for beginners. I'd like to say first and foremost, Happy New Year to everyone, to all the subscribers here, and appreciate you guys for subscribing. Just doing a quick live for you guys to say Happy New Year. I haven't seen you guys in a while. So I just wanted to come in and speak to you, say hello, hello, hello. And you guys are coming in. I see you got 12 of us in here. How's everybody doing? How's your new year? Are you still in the transportation industry? What are you doing? What's going on? What are your plans for 2022? What do you got going on? We had training today, Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. We had Freight Broker 101 training for beginners last night. I will do a Freight Broker live more than likely tomorrow or after I do this one. How is everybody doing? Give me some feedback. What's going on with you? Where are you in your journey? Sherry P, I want to work for ELLC. So we don't right now. We don't have employees. We're just a training platform right now. Sherry P, we just train you to be an independent freight dispatcher or a freight broker. So we don't have the sub dispatching program like we did a while back. We are entertaining that though. Okay, but right now, as it stands, we are just a training platform. Okay, so we train you on how to be your own boss as opposed to working for an employer. So, okay. Kelly X said, "I can't wait to get on board." Yeah, independence. So yeah. Oh yes. Gardening in the Lou with Stacy. Hello, see you feeling. Yes. So my wife and I, toward around Christmas time to New Year's, we both had the flu. We both tested negative twice for COVID. So my wife and I, we're feeling better. Everything's good. Our systems, everything's good. So we kind of took a break and sat back and got ourselves healthy. But thank you for asking. We feel much better. So really appreciate that. Alicia Giles, I just signed up last week for training. I feel so overwhelmed. Okay. I'm sorry you feel overwhelmed, but I will help you as much as I can, of course. Alicia Giles. Yeah. Anything that you can mention now, Miss Giles, you can type in the chat. I can kind of break some stuff down for you while you have me here on this live. I can clarify some things if you need. Alonda Marie says, I'm still in the learning process. How long can we attend the training after signing up? So you can be enrolled in it. So let me do this because on the website, and I'll put a link to it, I created an FAQ page where a lot of these questions are asked, right? And right there, the link to the FAQ page is right there. So we can do that and review that. A lot of those there's a lot of common questions that are asked. So I created the FAQ to answer the common questions. If there are any questions that are kind of uncommon, then we can go into a little bit more detail about that as well. So, but yeah. Yeah, don't feel overwhelmed. We got you. Hey, LaDonna. LaDonna, hopefully the business credit was good tonight with your team, business credit. So hopefully that went well. Gardening with Stacy says, I'm trying to see how to get an online faxing and how to market online. Very good. Online faxing, go to efax.com. That's a good starting point for you. Gardening in the Lou with Stacy. There is so much information, just trying to absorb it as I navigate through the modules. Okay, so yes, take your time, Alicia Giles. There's 4 modules. The first module you want to focus on. Prior to getting to the modules, there is the orientation and there is the business setup, the information part of the business setup. So if you are past that stage, then you go to the first module, which is carrier acquisition, where we show you how to acquire carriers, different ways to design, set up your your two documents you need as a dispatching company, namely the dispatcher agreement and the carrier profile. So take your time on that. Before you move to module 2, make sure you get a clear understanding of module 1. That's my recommendation, right? Or if you feel you can handle it, you can work with module 1 and module 2 simultaneously. Module 2 is introducing the concept of the load boards, navigating the load boards. What is a load board? What is its purpose? Things of that nature. Okay, so we show you that. Miraculously Beauty. This is my first time here. Where do I start? So this is just a YouTube channel, Miraculously Beauty. But if you are interested in enrolling in the ongoing training or any of the price training courses we have, you go to the website, which is, give you this here, the link. You go to the website, okay? Put that there and you review that, okay? I didn't see the answers to module 2. So what I'm going to do is I have the answers. I didn't want to put them in module 2 because that just makes it easier for you guys to just look at it, right? But if we usually cover the answers in the modules, and I do it in the form of a Cash App Sunday so I may do it once a month per each module, but yeah. Does the dispatcher carrier agreement have to be notarized? If so, do the truckers supposed to do it or do it if they're on the road when they sign up? So it is recommended. The best time for a trucker to notarize a dispatcher agreement is probably when they're doing their resets, either their 10-hour reset, or more than likely when they're doing their what's called 34-hour reset, which is a day and 10 hours. It is recommended that it gets notarized because notarizing a dispatcher agreement. And what does that mean, notarizing? All that means is there's a section on the dispatcher agreement, and it's only 2 pages. The dispatcher agreement is only 2 pages. The second page of our dispatcher agreement template shows what's called a limited power of attorney. What that is the carrier, the truck driver, the owner operator, giving you, the dispatcher, permission to do their broker paperwork for them, fill out their broker carrier agreements and the rate confirmations. Those are the 2 broker documents you need to onboard the carrier and get them approved for that specific brokerage and book a specific load for that specific brokerage that you just got them onboarded and approved for, okay? So by the carrier notarizing the limited power of attorney in the dispatcher agreement, a notary signs it and then makes it official, stamp it, what have you, then that allows you, the dispatcher, to streamline the process when you're onboarding and booking loads for your carriers. Otherwise, and it protects both sides. It protects the carrier and it protects the dispatcher, because one day a carrier may say, well, I didn't tell him to book this load for me. Well, I got a notarized agreement with you saying, or you give me authorization. So, so when the carrier has it notarized, now you, as a dispatching company, you can streamline the process now when you book loads for your carrier, because you're the one filling out the broker carrier agreements and filling out and signing the rate confirmations. What you are signing is not your dispatching name and printing your name. You are signing and printing the carrier, the truck driver, the trucking company's information, not yours as a dispatcher. That was the whole purpose of the carrier doing a limited power of attorney. They're saying, hey, I am authorizing you, and I'm having it notarized to make that official. I am authorizing you, Mr. Dispatcher, in front of a notary to represent me by signing and printing my name on these documents, right? So if that's not done by the carrier and they just send you back the dispatcher agreement without it being notarized, then you cannot do that. You should not do that. It's forgery at that point. So every time you do a onboarding packet with a broker or a potential rate confirmation, you have to send that information to the carrier and let them fill it out. So with that being said, at some point, the carrier is going to say, hey, wait a minute, you're my dispatcher. Why aren't you doing this? Well, I would have done this if you would have notarized and filled out the limited power of attorney portion on page 2 of our dispatcher agreement. Otherwise, I got to keep sending you broker carrier agreements and keep sending you rate confirmations to sign. Obviously, you're not going to have the time to do it because for the most part, you're too busy driving. So by the time you do find some time to do this, Mr. Carrier, fill it out. And this is you, the dispatcher, talking to them. By the time you do find some time to fill this out, Mr. Carrier, that load could have been gone or booked. The broker said that load's gone. It's too late. You guys took too long. So here's a way to leverage the fact that you can explain to the carrier that you need them to have it notarized at some point. Take the time, Mr. Carrier, getting it notarized. But once it's notarized and sent back to me, now let me go to work as a dispatcher for you. Okay. So, do we need anything from the government to be recognized by the carriers? Do we need some type of certification? No, as a dispatcher, you do not need anything from the government. One thing you need as a dispatching company is your business license and your structure set up, your LLC, EIN, things like that. You do not need an operating authority, an MC, or anything like that to be a dispatcher. And I put that in the FAQs to kind of break that down. Okay. Carolyn Raven, hello. Houston's in the house. Okay, Houston's in the building. Osei, Sarah Boar, hello. How do I get carriers to start dispatching for them? I have everything set up already. Cold calling, visiting truck stops, social media platforms, word of mouth, LinkedIn. There's so many avenues to get to the truck drivers, carriers, owner operators. You may know people who are carriers or truck drivers who spread the word as well. TM, hi. You always give wonderful information to your students. Continue to success for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, TM. Hey, Houston, me too. So we got so Houston's taking over right now. Lacinia Calloway and Carolyn Raven. Okay. Monique French. I was just watching one of your videos from 2020 and emailed you. You responded. Thank you. Then I come on here and see you have a live video going. Okay. Yeah, I pride myself in returning phone calls, answering emails and things like that, because it is without you guys, it wouldn't be an exodus. So I try to show my appreciation by being available as humanly possible, right? Of course, I have a life and there's other things going on. I'm a married man and things like that, but I try to show my appreciation. So, okay. Box office, in that case, will an online notary be sufficient? Yes, an online notary will be sufficient. Yes, and we have one in our platform. We are coming out with, it'll be sometime this year, with our Exodus University, where there'll be different subject matter experts, SMEs. We call them SMEs, right, in the corporate world. Subject matter experts in notarizing documents, subject matter experts in document creation and document presentation, subject matter experts in compliance and business credit, and all types of areas that's related to not only business and dispatching, but the transportation industry overall. Okay, so we're going to create a one-stop shop, Exodus University, and only enrolled members of Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners and or Freight Broker 101 Training for Beginners will be allowed to participate and utilize the services of Exodus University. Okay. Callaway saying with me, Monique, I'm like, yes, Charles is like, okay. Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks, Kelly, saying that. I learned something every session. I appreciate that. Hello, Houston. Yes, Houston's here. I'm just reading down the comments, guys, while I'm seeing any questions to answer. How you doing, boss? Explain factoring companies and do you use them? So factoring companies. What a factoring company is it's like a bank, if you will, in the transportation industry. It provides cash flow, and factoring companies have two clients. They have either the brokers or the carriers. So since we are dispatchers, let's look at it from a carrier's perspective. So if your carrier that you are dispatching for has a factoring company, then they provide the upfront capital or cash flow to keep them running, and then they'll go after the broker to get the rest of the monies. Okay. I do not use them because I do not dispatch any longer. I just mainly train at this point. This keeps me very busy and satisfied. But I have people who do dispatch, and some of their carriers use factoring companies. So, okay. Alicia Giles, at what point do I need to read the ebooks? You can take your time. So in addition to the live trainings for the ongoing course, right? Live trainings 3 days a week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Virginia. Saturdays at 12 noon, like we had today. And tomorrow, Sunday at 11 a.m., all Eastern Standard Time. In addition to that, as part of the ongoing training, you have access to the members portal, which is a self-paced learn as you go. So as far as the ebooks and any other tools and resources back there, you can take your time and read that as long as you are maintaining your access to the portal by paying the subscription costs, right? So after the modules or doing the module training, so you can read it whenever. You can read it interchangeably at the same time. Take your time, just be patient with it. Yep. Okay, because everything works interchangeably. Everything rehashes and goes over the same thing, so it can kind of reinforce the learning curve and establish a foundational concept for you as a dispatching company. Okay. Ali, does the ongoing training course include the dispatching one-on-one training? Yes, it does. Everything that you would get in the seminar or the training materials is inclusive in the ongoing, right? So it includes everything and more, right? And much more. Okay. Prominent Television, Prominent Transport LLC. We have started our biz. All thanks to you, brother. Me and wifey are looking for our first carrier now. Much love. Thank you. No problem. I appreciate having the ability from God to help others with the knowledge that has been funneled through me. All right. I'm a vessel. So, where are the answers for the mods? What I can do is work on putting the answers next to the quiz PDFs in the particular module area, right? But I don't want you guys to like cheat, look at the answers and then go back and look at the questions, right? But it's fine because the answers will be there for you just to check, okay? Let's see. Ali said, I see that the ongoing training includes back office forms and resources. Is that the same as one-on-one? It's the same, but there's some little extras as well, okay? Alicia, how much time did it take for you to learn and get started with dispatch? Very good question. So when I did it, it took me realistically, I would say because I wasn't as good as some of you guys are today and didn't have the drive and motivation that some of you guys do today. So it took me about, I would say, between 60 and 90 days, right, to get my first carrier, okay? All the while I was studying and learning it, right? So it took me about 60 and 90 days to consistently start, getting a carrier, start finding loads and getting the process down. But once you get it and understand and book your first load, you're like, man, all I got to do is just repeat this now. And then it goes on and on and on and on, right? Do you recommend using or dealing with factory companies for beginner dispatchers? So factory companies are not going to deal with dispatching companies as a client. They will deal with dispatching companies if you set up an affiliate relationship with them. So if you go to a factory company's website, go to their homepage. If you scroll down or somewhere on the page, it's going to have a link that says either partners or affiliates. You click that and you fill out their criteria and you meet their criteria. Now you become an affiliate of that factory company. What that means is they'll give you a kickback or pay you a certain amount if you bring clients to them and get those clients approved for factoring, brokers, carriers, right? With carriers, if you bring a carrier or a truck driver that you're dispatching for that does not have factoring, you bring them to your factoring company now that you are affiliated with or partnered with, they'll give you a kickback for that. And they may offer also a service where when they pay that particular carrier now that's under their factoring company, when that carrier turns in their POD or their invoice to be paid, the factory company pays the carrier and they may pay you at the same time, whatever percentage that you're charging for your service. That's how you can get around working with the factoring companies, by bringing them business and they'll show you favor by potentially paying you at the same time that they pay the carrier. Be sure that they offer that as a service before you consider working with them, though. Be sure, okay? When is the best time to call carriers? Morning, midday, evening? All of the above. mornings, early mornings when they're getting up, getting their trucks warmed up. They may be at a truck stop. They may be at a loading dock getting up. Midday and evenings, right? Monday through Friday. On the weekends, I would say anytime after 12 noon in whatever time zone they are in, not where you are, because you may be waking somebody up. You may be on the East Coast and you call somebody 12 noon Eastern time. That's 9 a.m. On the West Coast. So you got to be mindful of the time zone. Okay. Caroline Raven says, after taking your training, is there any specific place a person would find dispatching jobs? So the purpose of our training is to not teach you how to be an employee, not teach you how to find another job with someone else. Because you may currently be at a job and you're tired of working for an employee. Our job as a training platform is to teach you how to start your own company, your own dispatching business, to be your own boss. So you're not an employee, you are an employer. You are your own boss. You work for yourself. You have the opportunity now working for yourself to get back what's called your time freedom, right? And you have an opportunity to control your destiny as opposed to having someone else control it for you by being an employee. Okay. So that's the purpose of what we do. We try to create businesses on the dispatching side and businesses on the freight broker side. So not create other jobs. You're not going to be an employee for us. You're going to be your own boss for you. Okay. How do you set your dispatching business? How do you set up your dispatching business? Janera Hill. I just lost there we go. Janera Hill, how do you set up your dispatching business? Well, the first thing you do, obviously, is come up with your name of your company, establish a business license, LLC, EIN, however you want to structure it, get your business account, and then you set up your back office infrastructure of your company. You set up all your documents you're going to need to contract with the carriers, namely the dispatcher agreement and the carrier profile. Those are the two main documents you need to create on your side. And we provide templates and documents for that. After that, now you have to go into acquiring the carriers, well, at the same time, while you're learning how to do so, right? While you're calling, while you're visiting truck stops, while you're getting on social media, things of that nature. That's how you establish your business incrementally, okay? Step by step by step. Alicia says, Ali, the ongoing training course has a wealth of materials, definitely worth the investment. Thank you. What are some of the most useful factoring companies? Great question. We have one on our website that I recommend. She's very good. Her name is Monica Case. She is with a factoring company called Seven Oaks. Okay, so you can Google Seven Oaks. You can call their main line and then ask to be patched through to Monica Case. Ask specifically for her. And when you ask for her, let her know that Charles from the Exodus Logistics Learning Center sent you to her. And then she'll take it from there. And I may bring her back onto our ongoing training in one of our live trainings to break down the concept of factoring. There are others, TAVs, RTS, Foley's, TBS, Interstate Capital. There are other names of fact. You can Google invoice factoring companies, and it'll give you a list of factoring companies. Okay. Where did I leave off at? Okay. When is the best time to call carriers? Got that one. How to set up the jobs. Okay, definitely. What are some of the most useful factoring companies? We answered that one. Do you believe it is possible to work full-time job, 50 plus hours a week? I'm shaking my head as I read it. Do you believe it is possible to work a full-time job, 50 plus hours a week, and start independent dispatching career at the same time? No. Yes and no. You can start it and get the things set up that you need to set up. But at some point, you're going to have to transition from that 50 hours a week and pour that time that you're dedicating to the 50 hours a week into building up your dispatching company to a point where you can move away from the 50 hours a week and dedicate your time to your business. So at some point, that scale needs to tip more in favor of your establishing your dream and your company. right? I don't know where that point and when that point is for you. Only you know that situation, because everybody's situation is different. But it will be, I'll say this, it will be a challenge, okay? It will be a challenge, right? What I recommend, if you can do it, if you have like an emergency fund or something set aside, to set aside maybe 90 days worth of expenses that you have for your, like your rent or mortgage and all your bills. You tally that up for the month, whatever that number is. If you can afford to do that times 3 months, put that away, and then you can use that time, that 3 months, to dedicate fully establishing your business, while you don't have to worry about your expenses being covered. Most people may not be in that position. I understand that. I fortunately was in that position. My wife and I, we established like an emergency fund. And I highly recommend, whether you get into dispatching or anything else in life, if you're trying to go into a new business, guys, put away some money in an emergency fund, $100 a week, $50 a week. That stuff grows over time. That way it builds up that way, because you never know, things happen. So you want to have an emergency fund just in case something happens, okay? That provide good customer service. Do you recommend setting up business bank account for the LLC, or should we just use personal account until we reach a certain point? I recommend a business bank account if you can do it. If you can't do your personal account, why? And then once you get to a point where you can do the business account, just transfer the revenue and the income that you made and put in your personal account into your business account, so that you can account for it for the tax season, okay? Because you still, if you're making money as a business, you need to account for that for your taxes. You don't want to play with the IRS, okay? Great information, Exodus Invest. When is your next dispatch course? Well, we had one today. So our ongoing trainings, our ongoing live trainings, Exodus Investments. Hey, that's a good name, Exodus Investments. Our ongoing live trainings are the same days and times every week, unless I cancel it for some reason, okay? And Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 12 noon, and Sundays at 11 a.m. So we're having one tomorrow. This is for our ongoing members. You have to be enrolled in our ongoing training to participate in that, though. I'm going to paste a link to our Zoom, and it shows the days and times, okay? And we have an FAQ that talks about that as well, okay? You are a rare man of God. Thank you for all you do, man. I appreciate that, Alonda Marie. That's my struggle, LOL. But it is possible. I had to learn to be diligent and don't be discouraged. Correct. Stay positive. Will do. Thank you so much. I'm just reading through the comments, making sure I'm answering every question before I get off. It's been almost 30 minutes, 27, 28 minutes. I'm making my site right now on Wix. I use Wix, very good site. I have a Wix development team that I can recommend for you. I'm trying to figure out how to make a spot for them to upload carrier forms. I use, or have used, a third-party app that can be integrated into Wix. It's called Epic Form Builder. But Wix has an internal form that they do too. It's called Wix Forms. So you can create forms and import third-party forms where you can create documents where people can go online and fill it out online. So yes, okay. Let's see. Alicia got, I'm a teacher and I'm trying to really learn the dispatching business so that by the summer I can dedicate all of my time to growing my business. Very good. Teachers are very underpaid, overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. So I give you kudos to teachers. They are shaping the minds of our youth. Ali says, one more question. I want to sign up for the ongoing course. When does the course start, or has it already started? The course is always going. So the Wednesdays and Saturday trainings, and by the way, Happy New Year. And as a show for the new year, for the month of January, we are having a 15% discount for the month of January. And that's good to January 31st. I just wanted to plug that. So, one more question. I will sign up for the course. When does the course start? So it starts once you enroll. You jump right in. And because remember, it's self-paced, learn as you go. So the materials are always there. You just got to get to them. Once you enroll and you get past the access to the portal, you're in. And you learn at your own pace. The purpose of you learn at your own pace. Okay. The purpose of the lives 3 days a week is for you when you have questions while you are learning at your own pace. The live trainings is your opportunity to come in and see me, share my screen with you. I answer the questions, and I do some training at the same time as well. Okay. Thank you for sharing knowledge, Charles. You're welcome to your fields. How can I sign up? Exodus Investments just asked. I can put the link. I've been putting links in here ever since we've been on here, but I'll put that link to the enrollment page. I'm assuming Exodus Investments is asking about the ongoing training. So any tips for tax filing when your business is up and running? There are several. The only tip for tax filings will be how you originally structured your business when you set it up. Did you do a sole proprietorship? Did you do an LLC, limited liability company? Did you do an S Corp, C Corp? There are certain advantages and disadvantages with setting up the business according to that particular structure. Okay. Like me, for example, I was an LLC originally, but I changed my filing designation from LLC to S Corp by filing the 2553 and the 8832 forms, I believe it is, with my CPA. By doing so, I removed what's called the SE tax, self-employment, because even being an LLC, you are self-employed, but you have to pay an additional SE tax, which is self-employment tax at 15.3%. But if you are a S Corp and you pay yourself as an employee of your S Corp, then that SE tax goes away. So 15.3% less taxes you have to pay. Okay. So the social media addresses are on Facebook. It is the Dispatcher 101 and Dispatcher 101 members only. The members only Dispatcher 101 Facebook group can only be joined by those who have enrolled in the ongoing training. The Dispatcher 101 Facebook group can be joined by anyone. And then, of course, this YouTube channel, Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners. Those are the only social media networks. In addition, there's another one on Facebook. It's called Exodus Logistics Learning Center. And another one's called How Much Money You Need to Move Your Truck. That's mainly for the truckers, the carriers. So that's on the dispatcher side. Since this is the dispatching channel, I won't tell you the freight brokers' social medias because we're on a dispatcher YouTube channel. Okay. All right. So, okay, 32 minutes, 33 minutes. We're good on the questions. I just wanted to drop in and say happy. I know it's been a week since the new year. So this is the first time I've done a live this year, right? So just want to say happy new year special through January 31st, 15% off. Promo code is 15 January 2022. So let me put that in there. And it's on the purchase page as well, but I'll just put it there here just in case. But it's in big bold letters on the purchase page. I'm trying to make the website as simple and user-friendly as possible. I know I still will get questions, and that's fine, but I want to make it as user-friendly as possible. And as I get common questions, I will add that to the FAQs on Dispatcher 101. I think I posted the link here. I've created a YouTube video on the FAQ page and for the FAQ page to help answer the commonly asked questions. Okay, so there we go. Thank you, Keisha Austin Norris. She says, I love your site. Thank you very much. The Wix team is doing a good job, so I'm going to keep paying them. So anything else, guys, before we close out, I usually get on here, and it's at least half an hour. I've been on here for as long as an hour. How long does it take to make monies? Very good question. Depends on the motivation of the person. Do you discuss this in your training? Thanks. Yes. Yeah, of course. We discuss just about everything. If there's something in the training that I feel is inappropriate to discuss or unethical to discuss, I won't discuss it, and I'll mention why. But that's a very common question, because what's the point of getting into something if you don't know how soon you're going to make money? right? So that's a good question. It's a decent question. So it depends on the person. Depends on how motivated you are, how well and how quickly you catch on to what you're doing, dispatching, how soon you get a carrier, and how soon you book a load for that carrier so that you can invoice them for your service. So there are several factors progressionally that you have to put in play before you decide how. But to give you an average, I would say about 30 to 60 days, before you start seeing something. And that includes from starting your business to getting the carrier and booking a load for them and invoicing. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on an expediting service using cargo sprinter vans? Off topic. If you can connect with a good expediting company with cargo vans and sprinter vans, you can make some decent money, but they're hard to get under and they have stringent requirements. So, but do your diligence before you get involved with them. Okay. Happy New Year's, everyone. Wishing peace and prosperity to you all. Thank you again, Charles. You're welcome. What is a dedicated lane? Very good question. A dedicated lane. Well, first of all, let's answer the question. What is a lane? So if you have a carrier and you found them a load on a load board and you called the broker for that load, and the load is picking up, let's say I'm in Portsmouth, Norfolk, Virginia, and it's going to Atlanta, Georgia. So from Norfolk, where it's picking up, to Atlanta, Georgia, that is considered a lane. It becomes dedicated if your carrier does that same lane all the time and over again. That means it's dedicated. That means the carrier always know where they're picking up and they always know where they're delivering to. It's consistent. It always stays the same thing and almost always pays the same rate, depending on how much weight is going to be on the trailer at the time of the pickups. But at least your carrier knows where they're picking up and where they're delivering to. So they can pretty much take the same route all the time. Okay. That is the definition of dedicated lanes. They're consistent. Okay. Thank you for this. Happy New Year, Mr. Charles. Thank you. Thank you for this. I'm so motivated. Great. Tanisha Little. I have my LLC. How do I find free fillable forms to begin? Go to jotform.com. JOTFORM.com. They should have a free account that you can do what's called an e-signature fillable forms. You got DocuSign, PDF filler, JotForm, Doc Hub. JotForm, I know, is free. They have a free version. They also have a paying version. So the difference between the free version and the paying version is the paying version have more features to use, but the free version can get you started with some simple online fillable forms. Are there any opportunities to work with the LLC University, like a training coach for a topic? I have a few people already in mind for that have been students for a while and that have proven their worth, and I trust them to answer your question, Lucinda Calloway. But yes, there are opportunities. I may be extending them, and it's only for the opportunities for people to come in as subject matter experts in XU have to be former or current members of the training. And then even then, I will still vet you out because I want this to be an inter-network university where we all help and help each other grow and train each other and bring each other up in the industry. Okay. Hi, do you have a book? You have a book, How to Do All Processing. Yes, I have 3 ebooks. Jaquez Mila, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I do apologize. When dispatching, should I stick to one trucking type or have a mix? So we recommend the 3 major equipment types: the 53-foot dry vans, the 53-foot refrigerated trailers or temperature controlled trailers, what we call reefers, and then the 48 or 53-foot flatbeds. Of those 3, you can choose one of them to be your niche, certainly, and stick with that and master that and get carriers who only drive those types of equipment types. Yes, you can do that. Okay. Carolyn Raven said, thank you for all the information. Thank you, Tanisha. Okay. All right, guys, great. Getting ready to get off of this live. It is, of course, it's live, so it's going to be on the channel, so you can go back and watch it over and over again. For those of you who are not members of the Dispatcher 101 ongoing training, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. But I appreciate the over 18,000, I believe it is, subscribers to this channel. I think it's 18,000. If I'm misquoting that, I have to go back and look. Last year, 2021, we had 1,800. I think that's where I'm getting the number from. We had 1,800, a little bit over 1,800, 1,810 members enrolled from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021, about 1,800 students. My goal this year is to break the 2,000 mark, okay, to provide information and opportunities for learning to be your own boss in the dispatching space, as well as the freight broker space. I want to build up the freight broker space as well to parallel the dispatching too. So how does inclement weather affect the job of a dispatcher? It affects it very greatly. You have to know, you have to be aware of the seasons of the year and where to send your carriers to during the season. So during the summertime, it's not that bad. There's not a lot of inclement weather in the spring and summertime. But in the fall, late fall, and early winter seasons, like now, sending a carrier to the Northeast is suicide, right? And maybe some parts of the Midwest because of the snow. So as a dispatcher, you have to be mindful of seasons, weather conditions, and things like that. Otherwise, you're not going to be dispatching long because you're going to send carriers to areas where they're going to have a hard time to get out of. They're going to run the risk of having accidents and put their lives in danger, as well as others. So as a dispatcher, you really need to be mindful of that. Yes. And we go over things like that. Some of it's common sense. Other, we have to really ponder on it and consider, would I go over here? Would I go to the northeast section of the country in December and January to pick up a load and try to get out of there? Right? Questions you would ask yourself. So let's see, how can I have an ebook? So our ebooks you can purchase the ebooks individually, collectively, like 2-for-1s and 3-for-1 specials on the website under the ELLC services, I believe it is. We have the ebooks specials. If you are an ongoing member, you get them for free. They're included. If you purchase either the training kits or you enroll in a one-day Saturday seminar, you get ebooks included in that. Jacques Mila asked that question. Outside of that, under ELLC services, I'm going to put the link here for the ebook purchases if you just want to purchase the ebooks without anything else, okay? How do I pay with PayPal on the site? So it should be right there directly. You just click the button to buy now, enter the promo code, check out, and then if you have a PayPal account, it'll give you to log into your PayPal account and pay it by PayPal that way. Is dispatching 24/7? It can be. It's perceivably and conceivably it's 24/7, but when I was dispatching, I only had one incident where I had got a call at about 2 or 3 in the morning where my wife actually woke me up, and it was Smooth, my reefer carriers. He was stuck under a load on a Coyote load where he was stuck because he couldn't get the lumper paid. So I had to call the Coyote customer service to do what's called to cover the lumper fee, to do what's called a T code, to do a T check to pay for that so they can release him so he can move on with his route. So he had an early morning delivery, like 3 or 4 a.m. So he called me. My phone was buzzing. I was knocked out. My wife shook me, "Hey, your phone." I was ringing, Charles, and got up. So that was that one. Other than that, no, I wasn't like up in the middle of the night. So, but you want to make yourself available. So even though it may almost never happen, but you still want to make yourself available as a dispatcher, right? That's the one person your carrier should rely on if they have a dispatcher is the dispatcher. Okay. Best ways to avoid the dead zones. Well, the question becomes, what is a dead zone? What's the definition of a dead zone? A dead zone is an area of the country where it has a low volume of low frequency or a low amount of inbound and outbound loads or outbound freight. States that you can't get loads into or out of a lot. Those like Montana, Montana, the Dakotas, North and South Dakota. There's not a lot of things going up in North and South Dakota. So you want to keep your carriers in zones, states Like the Midwest zone is the number one zone, and the states in that zone are the number one states that has a high volume of inbound and outbound freight. And we show you that on one of our load boards. The second zone is the Southeast zone, and the states that are in the Southeast zone, states like Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, things like that, Virginia, North and South Carolina. And then the third zone, there's like 5 zones. The third zone is the Southwest zone. And one of the major states in that zone, obviously, is Texas. It's the biggest state in the union. Okay. So, so being aware of certain states and certain areas of the country will help you as a dispatcher to keep your carriers out of the areas that they'll be sitting and keep them running in the areas where they can get freight at a greater frequency. Okay. Ever had issues with a carrier paying you? One time I had. How do you avoid those issues? Yes, you're going to get issues. You don't deal with the carrier anymore, right? The last resort you would use is file a claim against their authority, but that's the last resort, because once that happens, then you're dealing with the authority being suspended and all these other things. And then you're dealing with probably small claims court. The cost of all those things will outweigh the amount of the carrier, what the carrier may have owed you, right? So you ask yourself, is it really worth it? I'll just cut my losses and don't deal with the carrier anymore and move on to another carrier. Okay. And should we always ask about the lumper when speaking to a broker? Of course. If you are booking a load for your carrier where you can perceivably conceive a lumper, then yes, you want to ask that question. So the question becomes, for those who don't know, what is lumper? A lumper is at the shipping facilities and at the receiving facilities, you have individuals who load and unload the trailers for your carriers. They charge in the warehouses on the forklifts. They charge for that service. That is called lumper. Okay. Loading and unloading the pallets onto the trailers. Okay. Some facilities charge for that service. Some brokers include the lumper fees, covering the lumper fees in the rate on the rate confirmations when you book the loads. It's already covered. So, and you will know that when you have that conversation with the broker. Okay. If you are an owner operator, that means you owner operators own the trucks and they drive it. They are the owners and they operate it. That's where the name comes from. Owner and operator. So owner operators are drivers of their own trucks. Okay. What are the major things you would look for when considering a dispatcher? Great question. Number one, honesty and communication. Okay. Number one, when I call you, will you pick your phone up? Can I depend on you? Right? Listening skills. Listening is a form of communication. You don't talk a lot. The less you say, the better off you are between your dispatcher and the owner operator. Let your owner operator tell you what they want, and then you fulfill those requirements, right? And that's the purpose of the carrier profile. The dispatcher agreement and the carrier profile is the owner operators or the truck driver's way of telling you what they want. Okay. And now you're listening to that in paper and document format. And then when you go on the load boards and find loads for your owner operators, you are doing it according to the profile. So when you call them, you let them know, like, hey, I found a load that met your requirements. And then let's go from there. Let me call the broker and try to book the load, negotiate a higher rate so I can include my fee and whatever else. Okay. Okay, I just signed up for the course. Someone just signed up for the course. Okay, I have to go and check my email. I can check it on the phone. How long does it take to get paid? Usually it's, so in your dispatch agreement, you can determine the frequency of payment. You can say pay upon receipt of the invoice. You can say paid after 3 days, after 7 days. So I would say it shouldn't take you no more than a week, 7 days after delivery of a load by your carrier to get paid. That's the most amount of time that I would accept as a dispatching company. Okay. Sending blessings and manifesting divine energy for everyone on the stream. All right, guys, 49 minutes. Let me check my phone, and Ali said they just signed up. So thanks for answering the questions, Charles. Appreciate it, man. So I got one person. So I'm assuming Ali is Ali Farah out of Minnesota. Okay, so that'd be you. Do I get the login details emailed to me? Yes, you should. So in your receipt of your payment, there should be a download with the welcome email set up so that you can set up your email and password to log into the members portal. Once you do that, we'll get an alert and we will approve you for that. Then you will get a confirmation email of that approval. You will click the link to go to the members portal and log in. If you have any hiccups along the way with that, reach out to us and we will resolve that. Okay. Because there's a few bugs we're working through, I'll be honest, but I want to make sure that the process is streamlined. All right. All right, guys. So I had one sign up tonight. That's good. I didn't expect that, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Adding to the members for 2022. My goal is 2,000 this year. I was at 1,810, I believe it was, for 2021. The goal is 2,000 this year. So, all right, guys, I salute you. I appreciate you guys. Have a happy new year. For those who are members who are listening on this live tonight, we do have intermediate training tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dispatcher 101. LaDonna's here. Welcome aboard, Ali. Ali, you've made a great investment. Yes, you have. The one thing I can promise, that I can promise when someone enrolls into the course is you will get 100% of me. Okay. So that's what I can promise you. Everything that I know, I try to pour into my members, students. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening. I apologize for coming in to the live on YouTube so late in the year. I meant to do it the first week, but this is the 8th, and last Saturday was the 1st. So I should have came in on a little bit sooner, but that's okay. I'll try to show my face often on the lives, like usually probably after our trainings, like after the Wednesday training, I might do it on that next morning, Thursday, after the Saturday trainings later in the afternoon, and the same thing with the Sundays. Okay. To kind of market and promote and get other people to join by showing myself live and answering questions on the live that you guys may have and pointing you guys to the website to get your questions answered under the FAQs under Dispatcher 101. So hopefully you guys look at that as well. Okay. Other than that, you guys have a good evening. I'll talk to you later. God bless.